Hello students, welcome back to Machining Sciences and Tool Design. We are discussing module number 5, that is design of single point cutting tools. In this video, we will be discussing about Tippu tools. A Tippu tool is any cutting tool in which the cutting edge, we have already discussed about solid tool, which is made up of a single material, whereas in case of a Tippu tool, the cutting edge, which you can see, which we already discussed in features of a solid tool, we have a major cutting edge and the minor cutting edge. There are the side cutting edge and the end cutting edge. So these cutting edges consist of a separate piece of material that is brazed, welded. That is, you have a separate piece of material onto the base material, which is brazed, welded, and clamped onto the body of another material. So this entire shank portion is made up of one material, and the insert which you are using it for cutting purposes, where you have a cutting edges, is made up of another material. So in these type, with which the cutter portion is an indexable part, so that is the cutter can be rotated because you will be having inserts which is having a different cutting edges. So you can use this cutting edges one by one by indexing it from one position to the other position. So that is called indexable part, clamped by a screw. So this is clamped onto the main part of the cutting tool by the help of a screw. The cutters, and these are called inserts, which can be inserted into the base tool body. And then we have a Tippu tools allow each part of the tool, shank and the cutters, to be made of a material with the best properties of its job. That is, in case of this, you can use the shank portion material, which is highly having an high impact resistance, which is much tougher, whereas you can use the insert portion or the cutting portion, which is very much harder. If it is harder, it will be brittle. So you can use you can have the different properties in the same cutting tool, because you are using a different materials for different parts, like cutter and then the shank. So common materials for cutters are bracer tips and a clampus inserts, include cemented carbide, polycrystalline carbide. These are all very hard materials which we have discussed already. And then CBN, that is cubic boron nitride, which is also expensive when you compare to HSS or other material. So you can go for HSS for shank portion, and then you can go for CBN or polycrystalline diamond for a cutting edges. So that is about inserts. Advantages of this, as we have already discussed, the advantages of Tippu tools is only small insert of the cutting material need to be provided with cutting ability. So other that is a small size makes the manufacturing of insert easier also, and then making the solid tool of same material. This also reduces the cost because the tool holder can be made up of a less expensive and tougher material, as we already discussed. In some situations, a Tippu tool is better than its solid counterpart because it combines both toughness of the tool holder and the insert hardness of the insert. That is, instead of going for a solid cutting tool, as we discussed in the other video, so if you go for an insert tool which is made up of two materials, one is having higher hardness, other one is having a higher toughness, then this Tippu tool is better than the solid counterpart. So in other situation, this is less than optimal because in other way it is less than optimal because why? Because you are joining this insert onto the main body, so that is using screws, clamping, bracing. So the joint between the tool holder and the insert reduces the rigidity of the cutting tool, so it will be less resistant to the impacts. So however, these tools may still be used with the overall cost savings is still greater. So that is about Tippu tools. There are some other portions to be discussed, like we have a how we are holding this Tippu tools onto the main shank. So that is, you are using a clamp screw. As you can see, this is a clamp which is pressing onto the inserts to hold it in position, and then you can also use a lock pin like this as shown in the figure. So these are the inserts which is used, which is having a cutting edge, and you can use this, index this and use the different cutting edges, and you can regrind these inserts and use it another time, so that you are reducing the cost of purchasing the new inserts. So these are all throwaway inserts are also available, then regrinding. So regrindable inserts are also available, and then throwaway inserts are also available. In case of throwaway inserts, you cannot go for regrinding, so you can use it once and then you need to throw it away. So whereas in case of regrindable inserts, you can go for a regrinding. So that is about Tipwood tools. We'll end this